Hello guys, you're welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Rukewe and I am the Queen of Analysis. Today we're going to be talking about keeping your vows and your promises to God. Should I say your promises or your pledges? Keeping your vows and your, promises, pledges to God. Now, if this is your first time of being here or if you have not yet done so, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, it's just below. Like this video and share with your friends, because why not? We're sharing knowledge, we're sharing information. I would like to hear what you have to say, because like I said, we're sharing knowledge, we're sharing information. So let's get right to it. What is a vow? A vow is a solemn promise to do something. Now, this is a basic dictionary meaning of what a vow is. It's a solemn promise to do something, sometimes to a deity. A deity maybe like a god, or to people, but it's just a solemn promise to do something. So there's the word promise when it comes to making vows. Now, in this context, I want to talk about making vows to God and keeping our vows that we make to God. Now, as human beings, when our backs are against the wall, when we're in a tight position, we don't know what to do. We just want something so bad. You know how you want something so much? It could be that you are looking for money so badly, or you want healing so badly, or you want a job so badly, you want to relocate so badly. We can mention several examples. But what I'm saying is, when your back is against the wall, when you are in that tight spot, that tight corner, you find that you begin to make promises, even promises that you yourself are not able to even keep. That is human beings for you, and that's human tendencies. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Now, has somebody ever come to ask you for money before? Maybe to lend, from you. Maybe to take some money from you. And when they want to take that money, they need it for something that's actually very important. What they need the money for is important. So they promise, I will pay you back this money next week. I will pay you back this money at so time. I will not fail. If you can just give it to me, I promise. I will give it to you at so time. And you, being the kind person that you are, will give that person the money with the hopes that they will keep to their word, that they will give you back at the time that they have said they would. But guess what? When that time comes, you start hearing stories. Some of them will call you beforehand to even say, oh, I cannot meet up with this payment. I'm so sorry. Can you give me a little bit of time? Some will not even say anything. It will cause problems between people, because some will even start acting like, is it because you borrowed me money that you don't want me to sleep? They start giving you that attitude. Sometimes you get your money back, sometimes you do not. But the question is, the person made a promise. You gave something and it's supposed to be returned, but they did not. So that's a promise not kept. That's just one example. Let's talk about when people make promises to oracles, like to juju, babalawo, herbalist. When people make promises to these deities, when you go to them, they are ready to do so much for you. But remember, when the devil gives you one thing with one hand, he takes it with the other hand. So when you go to them, people go to them for certain things. In fact, it's so common right now. I need this. I want to be wealthy. I want to be rich. I want to make it. I want a new job. I want my child. My wife is barren. I want her to have children. For so many reasons we can mention, people go to these people to seek help, to seek protection, to seek security, to seek for material things and what's not. When you go to these people for these things, they request something from you in return. We know, if you watch Nollywood movies a lot, they always show these things. You want long life, I will give you long life, but just 40 years. You'll be extremely rich for 30 years, but once 30 years is up, your time is up. Are you willing? And while you are at it, you need to be providing a virgin every 1 month. One virgin must go. They give you things that are so grievous, things that you can't keep up with, that you cannot fulfill. But because that person is so desperate, because that person is in need, they want that thing at that time. They want it so bad. So they just agree to anything that is proposed. So when they say it, oh, I will do it. Don't worry. When that time comes, is it not just, I will get it, I will do it. Because at that time, they are desperate and they are in need and they want something. So they promise. Now, when the time comes to fulfill the promise, and the babalawo or the juju man now starts to ask, okay, it is time, you have not brought so thing. They now start running from pillar to post. Some of them going to churches looking for deliverance and prayers to free themselves from the promise and the bond that they've kept themselves into. So this is me just giving you instances of how we as human beings make promises and we don't keep. What about the promises we make to our children? Don't worry, when I'm coming back, I will buy you so thing. Don't worry, if you do well in school, I promise I will buy you this. But your child will do well in school, you won't buy. They will now ask you, Mommy, what about that thing that you promised? Don't worry now, next month. You just push it ahead. I know we might not take that one seriously because it's between you and your child. But I mean, it's a promise. Because you said, you agreed that if you do this, if you pass your exams, I will do this for you. Now the child has passed. You haven't kept to your part of the bargain. That's a promise that you have not kept. But that's on a lighter note. But I'm sure we understand what I'm trying to say, right? Now let's bring it to us as children of God. When we want certain things from God, we promise God so many things. God, if you do this for me, I will do this for you. God, if you can just allow me get this job, I promise I will be paying this amount of money every month. God, if you can do this for me, there's no Sunday that I will miss church. Nothing will stop me. God, if you do this for me, I will make sure that my children will serve you all the days of their life. You know, we make these promises to God because at that point in time, we just want God to answer our prayer. We are desperate and in need. So at that time, you're ready to promise God anything just because you want a solution to your situation or your problem, you know. So you make all these promises to God. And I always say this in all my videos, that when I talk, I don't just talk to people, I speak to myself as well, because sometimes I sit down and I think of these things, and that's how I make the videos, because I think about them and then I say, oh, am I on this table as well? Because I don't exonerate myself. I'm not perfect. I learn. So I realized that we actually make promises that to God and we do not keep them. For one, I remember that I made a promise to God some time ago. And I said, God, if you would do so thing for me, I would do so thing. It wasn't even something I would do for God, but it was something that I promised I would do. Not necessarily, it's not to God's benefit or anything, but it's still to my benefit. But I promised that I would do it. So I did it for a couple of weeks and I stopped. And that's when even this topic came to mind, because I was reminded of my promise that I have not kept. But thank God that we serve a God who is faithful. Thank God that we serve a loving God who is so merciful. He is abundant in mercy. So even when you fail, he doesn't fail. But the problem is when you stop the agreement, that's where he will also stop. Because you stopped, he's consistent. He's consistent in all his ways. So when you stop is when he stops. So it takes you to do the stopping first, and then he will stop as well, because it's an agreement. You made a vow. So for it to continue, you need to keep doing your part, and God will keep doing his part. But what happens is God does his part and we don't do our part. But like I said, because he's a merciful God, he will leave you. He will just show you mercy. You will go and meet him and say, God, I'm so sorry. This, forgive me. He will forgive you because he's a merciful God and he's a kind God. But are we supposed to be making promises that we are not able to keep? Don't just say things because you want something, because you're desperate. Think about what you're promising to God and to people. Let your word be your bond. The Bible says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. I'm going to drop verses in this video for you to go back and read and see about vows. I'm going to give you the story of somebody in the Bible, in the book of Judges. And this was Jephthah. He made a promise to God when he was going to fight. Go and read about it. I think he was going to war to fight with, I don't know what's those group of people, but he was going to war. Just read it in the book of Judges 11. And he promised God, he made a vow to God that if I win, if you go with me and I succeed in this battle, anything that comes out of my house, I will give to you. At that time, he wanted so badly to win because he wanted to be accepted by those people, because his mother was a harlot. Just go and read Judges 11. He wanted so badly to be accepted. So he wanted to go into that battle. And he went, and God was with him, and he succeeded. But when he got home, who was the person who came out of his house? His only child. His only child, the only one that he has. She was happy, rejoicing that, oh, he has won the battle. And when she came out, he was broken, because this was my vow. I told God that when I win this battle, whatever comes out of my house, I'm not 100% Bible scholar, but I read it, and you can go back and read it yourself. Let's talk. And it was so difficult. And I think the daughter now said, let me go into the mountains and cleanse myself, or do something about her virginity, and then come back. But we don't know what happened after that. But I know that he was conscious of the fact that he needed to keep his vow that he made to God. So that just tells us that because you are in desperate need of something doesn't mean you should just say, I will do this, I will do that. Think through. What can you do? Because when you're making promises to God, he's not forcing you. Remember, he's not forcing you to make these promises. You make them yourself. You chose to say, God, I will do this if you will do this for me. You made that promise yourself. God did not force you. He did not put it in your mouth. He did not put it. You chose to say it. You chose it. You chose. I don't know if you understand. It was within your capacity. You said, this is what I'm going to do. But when God now does it for you, what happens to we children of God is we forget. So quickly, we forget. We'll just be putting it aside. Next week will turn to 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then years. And what you told God you will do for him, you will not do. But like I said, our God is a merciful God. So he will forgive. He will look away. So this topic of vows and promises now made me to sit down and begin to think. Why is it that sometimes we ask certain things of God and we don't get it? A lot of times people say, oh, if you don't hear from God, it means it's not yet the right time. It means wait, it means hold on, and all those things. And those things are correct. They're actually true. But I now began to look at it from another angle. Have you thought about it that the reason why sometimes you ask certain things of God and you make so much promises and God will give you not everything, but part of what you have asked for, because he knows that you cannot even keep the promise that you're even making to him. Because God knows you much more than you know yourself. He knows he can count you. Can you count the number of hair on your head? The strands, you can't. But as many as we are on earth, God can count the strands on our head. That's how knowledgeable he is. All knowledge and wisdom, understanding sits with him. So when you are telling God, I will do this for you, that he will just be looking at you and saying, this my daughter has started again. This my son has started again with all their promises. Sometimes he will try you with a little. He will try you with small. Okay, you're asking me for this. Let me just give you a tiny bit of what you're asking me for. And when they give you that, when God gives you that tiny bit, it's sayonara. See you later, Jesus. We're going to talk. After a couple of months, you put God aside. You forget that when you needed that thing, you came to God, you asked, you promised. But now God has done it for you, you left. If it was the other side, the dark side, these Babalawo people and all this shrine and everything, you make a vow to them, you make a promise, and you don't fulfill it, you know what's going to happen to you. You know. You can't even try it. You know. They run to church everywhere, look, because they know that those ones don't have time. They don't show no mercy. What am I trying to say in the end? Number one, don't just make promises because you're in a tight corner. If you want to make a promise, try to be sure that this thing I'm about to promise, I will be able to keep to it. Especially when you are making promises to God. The Bible says when you make a vow to God, make sure you go and renew and make sure you fulfill, redeem that vow, that thing, that pledge that you have made to God. Make sure that you fulfill it, because if you don't, it is a sin. There are many verses in the Bible. Don't just promise God things. When you promise, it's okay. If you want, it's okay to say, I will do this. But when you promise, please go ahead and do it. Sometimes it's not easy, but you need to do it because you promised. When God sees it in you that you are committed and you are doing that which you have said, he will do more. He will now give you more capacity. When you're asking for now bigger things, he will now give you, because he has seen that with this one, this my child is faithful, this my son is faithful. But you told God, if you can give me this job, just give me this job. Let me just be the front desk of this company. You're not yet the manager, you're just the front desk. I will be serving you. In fact, Lord, by the time you get that job, they will not even be seeing you in church again. I'm so busy, I'm so busy, no time, everybody, no time. But before you got that job, you promised God that you will be available. He didn't force you, remember. You put it upon yourself. So don't just make promises. Don't be like that man in the Bible, what's his name? That said, oh God, if you can help me succeed in this battle, I will give you my daughter. Because at that time, he just said it. He didn't say, I'll give you my daughter, but he said anything that comes out of my house, because he didn't think of it that, his daughter, at that point in time, anything that is in my house, I'll just give it to you, no matter what it is. So when you are in a tight corner, don't just make promises, because, no, think through, can I keep to my word? This thing I'm saying I'm going to do, can I do it? And apart from even God, even to people, you take things from people, you take money from people, you promise things to your children. You make promises here and there. Sometimes in church, they'll say, this is what you do. You write it, you don't fulfill it. Nobody forced you, but when you make a vow to God, ensure that you keep it. Be consistent. It is discipline. Do it. Because your God is not man. Honor God. Because like I said, he's merciful. So when you don't keep your promise, he will leave you. But think about how many times God has done so much for you. In fact, take a pen and paper and begin to write. Just maybe mention 5, the most recent ones. Things that God did for you and you promised that you would do this. Ask yourself, have I kept to my part? Have I kept my side of the bargain? The things that I told God that I'm going to do, have I done them? Have I kept to them? I was speaking to myself, like I told you, I promised God something, but I want to start it again because I don't just want to start and stop. It's not helping us as children of God. So I want to encourage you today, when you make a vow to God, ensure to keep your vow. Don't leave it hanging. It's almost, it's even part of ungratefulness. And then it shows God that you have no capacity to receive more. Because with the little, you're not faithful. So how can he do so much more for you? So when you're asking, I told you, he'll be looking at you and laughing. This one, if I just give this one, we don't see this one again. So I want to encourage us, please, when we make a vow to God, let's keep our vow. Let's keep our vow. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying till the end. If you have not subscribed, like I said, please subscribe, like this video, and of course, share with your friends. I would like to hear what you think in the comment section about your vows to God. Have you been keeping them? Would you start to keep them now? What are your thoughts? I don't know everything. I just come to say the little that I know. Do you get? I just come to say the little that I know. So it's not like I know everything. So I'd like to hear your thoughts as well on the topic. Thank you. Until I see you in my next video, God bless you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Ciao, ciao.